Hey, I hope you're all high with me because I am ripped right now. Again, I'm coming off of like 3 GBs after 2 days of not smoking at all, so I'm pretty ripped right now. Um, I'm actually drinking on a straw burrito that a girl left a bunch of them at my house when I had a party a few weeks ago, so I'm drinking one of those, and I also, after that, I have a Michelob Ultra that I stole from my roommate, so I'm drinking free tonight too. But what I want to tell y'all about is the cops coming to my house while we were smoking weed. And this is kind of a crazy story, and it happened very recently. Um, it was when I threw this party that I'm talking about, the girl left her strawberries at. It was when I threw that party, so that was just last week on Tuesday. And we started, it was at night. We started the party at night, and I think we had a good little party going, probably about 15, 20 kids there on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, and we were playing music, and I had moved my truck around on the other side of the fire pit, so the lights of my truck were pointing towards the fire pit and into the woods and not to the neighbor's house. And we were playing music, and we actually stopped playing music in my truck, and my other friend started playing it in his truck, and he doesn't even have a sound system. He's just got some speakers. And it was probably about midnight to 1 a.m. at this point because this whole night my friend had to quit this week, so we decided to scrape all our keef up that day out of the grinder, and we decided that we put it in a little glass vial and smoked it all that day. So we were smoking keef all that day and weed, and that night we were smoking keef and smoking weed, and we had been smoking weed all night and drinking. So like me and a few of my friends are ripped. And like I remember one point we went out back and hit a bowl of keef with a little bit of weed in it between three of us, and that was like it put me over the edge. And like we didn't let everyone know at the fire we were smoking, but a lot of people knew. So we're out by the fire hanging out, and people kind of start leaving, but we got the crowd that's going to stay really late and hang out. So it's about down to 10 of us, and we go into my house to roll a joint, and I asked this kid if he smoked, and I didn't even remember I had actually smoked with him before, but we were drunk before. And he was like, yeah, and while we were rolling the joint, this hot girl comes in that I was trying to get with that night, and I'm like, hey, do you smoke? And she's like, oh, no, I hate the way it makes me feel. And I'm like, ah, that's too bad. You're missing out. And she like goes into the bathroom and comes back out. And we were like, come on, you just try it. And she was like, no, no. And so like us three go out to smoke that joint. And we split it between three of us. And then two other kids came up, and they were actually like running their mouth about like, dude, I know what an indica is, a sativa is, and a hybrid, and I can tell you which one this is just by smoking it. I can give you like the strand name and everything. And like he was doing all this shit wrong, and my buddy was like sitting there calling him out because my buddy had just got back from Colorado. But I went back around to the fire pit, and we were hanging out, and I actually had my baggie of weed in my pocket because like I planned to smoke one more time before I went to bed because I just wanted to be absolutely rip and sleep sound because I didn't have to get up the next morning. Well, I was standing there talking to my buddy, and like I said, it's about midnight, 1 a.m., and like I'm in the middle of a story. I can't even remember what story I was telling him. Sorry, one second. Let me turn this music down a little bit. Yeah, sorry, I was listening to music in the background. And anyways, like all of a sudden in the middle of my story, my buddy goes, "Dude, there's a cop right behind you." And I like turn around with the beer in my hand, and I'm like, sure as hell there is. And I like take a drink of my beer and look back at my buddy, and he's like deathly, ghostly afraid for some reason. He hadn't even been smoking that night, just drinking. And so I turn around, and the cop said like he came out here for a noise complaint, and then he was like, who's, and I like go over to the truck to turn the music down and turn it off while we're talking to him, and I like still have my beer, and I'm debating on whether or not I should leave in the truck and come back. But I decided just to keep it because I was drunk and high, probably not making the best decisions. But anyways, I come back with my beer, and while I was gone, he had told all the people there that he'd been standing there for like 10 minutes listening to our stories. So like we didn't even like we were that gone that we didn't even realize he walked up next to all of us. So I come back, and he's like, "Well, who's the homeowner?" I'm like, "I'm the homeowner," and I've like got my beer in my hand in front of this cop and still drinking it, and. And remember, there's like a bong like on my back porch with the light on and everything. Like he could have saw it when he walked by, and he asked, "Who's all 21 here?" And like one kid says I'm not, and then he's like, who else? I know there's someone else, and then like two or three other people, they're like, oh, I'm not, and like so a few people said it, and I said, well, everyone has a place to sleep here. No one's driving, sir. And he's like, well, that doesn't matter because if I took them to the hospital right now and got a blood alcohol content, they'd be drunk and they're underage. I said, yes, sir, I understand. And I, like, keep in mind this whole time, I'm not 21. I'm standing there that whole time still drinking beer in front of this cop. And he's like, okay, well, y'all just turn the music down. Don't make me have to come back out here again. I'm like, yes, sir, we won't be playing music back here again. And then he turns around and starts to walk away, and I like run up to him and start walking him out to his car, and I like shake his hand and I read his name, I don't remember his name though, and told him thank you. And right when I shake his hand, I can smell my weed in my pocket. Like, I can smell it, like, because it was pretty dank shit. It smelled pretty good. So I was like, oh shit, like in my head I'm like, I can't walk him out to his car, he'll smell this weed. And he, he's like, just keep it down, I don't have to come back out here or do anything. And he's like trying to leave. I'm like, does he, like, this moment was so long for me, but it only lasted like 3 or 4 seconds. And I'm like, does he smell it, does he not, should I walk away, do you think he cares? And I like just let go of his hand. I'm like, yes sir, thank you. And I walk away and I go back to the fire pit. But it ended up my neighbor across the street called the cops on us, and like he had already bitched me out that day for he said my truck was way too loud. I told him I was sorry, but I'm not changing my muffler out for him, and he told me he was tired of hearing it. And I just told him I was sorry, but he was real angry. So we decided to go like war with this neighbor. Like, we're probably gonna go shit in his front yard and shit in his, like, on his front porch and just start fucking with him, because he's not cool. I've already tried to be nice to him before, and he's done stuff like this before. But yeah, that's the story of the cop smelling weeds at my house, like right after we smoked it. So y'all just stay high and like, rate, subscribe, comment. I love hearing from y'all. Peace.